Welcome back to A Second Chance at Love and Marriage. We are your host, Shanice.
I'm Sean.
And this is season 2 of the Second Chance at Love and Marriage podcast. So we thank you for following us through season 1. If you need to get caught up in those episodes, you can check us out on YouTube or Spotify, whichever one is your preferred listening preference. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about what we did during our break, as we have taken a break to recalibrate from season 1 and start season 2. And today we're going to talk about rest and mindfulness and how that has impacted our life. So I'll start us off. I can say one for me because I have been practicing mindfulness for quite a while now. It has really impacted my focus and my movement and has really caused me to slow down and stay in the present moment. You don't realize how many things you got on your mind and in your mind, and how you're not managing your thoughts until you intentionally focus on being mindful and practicing mindfulness and really, paying attention to the thoughts that you're having and being in the present moment and not focused on, okay, what I'm going to do next. And oftentimes that was my movement. Okay, I'm doing this right now, but after this, I'm getting ready to do this. Okay, I'm going to do this, and this. It's always on multiple next things, multiple next moves, days, weeks ahead. And with that, a lot of times you create more anxiety for yourself, more physical stress for my own body is what I was creating. And I wasn't breathing properly. So I implemented, a lot of wellness practices so that I can be well and I can also live well. And to me, that was very important. So not only was it during these 2 weeks that we were away from our podcast, but it has been something that I've been practicing for some time, even last week. I didn't have a lot of work to do last week, and I was okay with not trying to find other things to do. I was okay with that. Sean didn't have to tell me to rest, just rest, because I was resting. I was doing nothing. A lot of time, you hear a lot on social media and, about goals, this whole goal culture and trying to meet the next goal, trying to do the next thing, when in fact sometimes you really just need to rest. Sometimes you just need to be and not try and do so much.
True.
There is something that I like to say sometimes: less is more. Less is more. Sometimes you think you got to do a whole lot of stuff to do one thing good. I have found that I need to do one thing at a time very, very well and put my energy into that. So we've had a lot of time to rest and recalibrate and just take our time and enjoy every moment that we have together as a couple. And on days where we didn't have things on our agenda to do, that was good. We had good time doing nothing.
Doing nothing together.
Enjoying each other's company, talking, laughing, napping, all of those things that, people take for granted and may only do sometimes when they're on vacation. Like you see people go on a vacation to rest.
Right.
Literally, you go on a vacation, I'm just going to lay out on the beach. I took a nap on the beach. I had my pina colada on the beach. Well, I was doing that at home. I had my feet up at home. I didn't have to get dressed while I was at home. I sat on the porch, went for a walk. I came back and I took a nap on my porch. That's what I did. And that was my way of resting. And sometimes we don't realize how much our body and how much our mind needs that. And for me, my body really needed it, but also my mind needed it. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Rest is very important to the whole person. The whole person, the mental, emotional, spiritual, as well as the physical, and as being a personal trainer, I often have to tell my clients, you got to get rest. Not only do it re-energize the body and it helps the muscles to rebuild, recuperate, but it gives the mind an ability to understand that, okay, I'm not always have to stress my body. So it gives the mind an ability to calm down and to prepare on the next thing as well. I was just talking to Shanice about I have an inability to meet a ultimate level of rest sometimes because when I'm sleeping, I'm still mentally active a lot of times, and that tends to um, not help me in the long run. So I'm learning to get a deeper level of rest so that I can totally be inactive and get good nights of sleep, and I'm getting better at that. Ever since I got off my third shift job, I get deeper sleep now. I do get deeper sleep, so that tells me that my mind isn't racing 100 miles an hour while I'm sleeping. But I also look at another level of rest that I'm pretty good at as the physical inactivity, but the mental preparation. I think sometimes we just need to stop physical stuff to prepare for the next season. And that's why we transition into the next season in our life. So we kind of lay some things down, but constantly staying mentally focused to know that, okay, this is some things that we have to do, some things that we have to prepare for. So we do that, but we don't do it in a rush sense. We don't do it in a, okay, we got to do this, do this, do this. We just mentally prepare for the things that we can. And that gives us good preparation for the things that do come up that we didn't quote unquote prepare for, but just slowing down enough to have our minds energized so that when things do come up, we can be sharp, and another level of rest that I've entered into because I transitioned off my job was an enjoyment of your job. I found that level of rest to be very, very beneficial to everything that I do, because when I go to work, I don't feel like, man, I got to do this, or it's a labor. It's not it's not very laborious in a sense, to the point where I'm trying to do so much. I actually enjoy my job, so I'm resting while I'm working and trying to get my clients to as well. Not everybody enjoy working out, but to get them to realize it doesn't have to be a labor. It doesn't have to be a labor. So those are some things that I've benefited and learned from this season of rest, just to slow things down, be prepared, enjoy what you're doing, and ultimately let your mind rest as well so they can be sharp.
That's good. In that, in that, as you were talking, that leads me to another thing too. I think in that rest and in those times of rest, you just grow more and more grateful. I have found that to be the case. You more and more grateful of the present moment that you are in. And that is a part of mindfulness. Being more and more grateful because you don't take those little things for granted. One, having the peace, and like you said, the enjoyment in the work that you do. Having times of solitude, having times where you don't just have to rush, having times where you have a good night's sleep, right, and you don't have to jump up and get ready. That creates anxiety in us, in our physical body. We carry that. And so just having a lot of gratitude just for everything that maybe in the previous season you didn't have.
Right.
So that's what we have been doing, and we have been able to enjoy, and I think we've benefited a lot from that.
For sure. I've benefited from it, and hopefully Shanice as well, is because, like I talked about earlier, my mind doesn't always get a chance to, but when I slow things down, I'm sharper. I can tell when my mind hasn't gotten good rest, because I try to be an attention to detail type person, but when I don't give myself mental rest, I suffer in that. I don't be able to cross my T's and dot my I's per se, because I didn't give my mind a chance to rest, so it's not sharp. So when I do get a good rest, I think the marriage benefits from it. I'm not always quick to maybe have an emotion or a thought. I can think about something and then be able to actually understand what's going on and maybe bring something to the table that I wouldn't have been able to if I didn't slow down, So it's important to me in this marriage that I give my mind rest, because I'm not overly emotional, but because my mind is constantly active, that I can go from a mental state of mind where I'm not thinking to become irrational in my emotions, because I didn't give myself the chance to think about maybe what was said or what was done or a decision that I made or a thing that I said. So it's just important to me in that sense in our marriage that I constantly give my mind a chance to rest, so I can be sharp, I can be ready, I can be able to respond with enough thoughtfulness and thoroughness, and be able to just think about some things that we need to do as a family. Better preparation time when my mind is rested.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we were able to, and we were doing this previously, so nothing changed. But even, just the other day, we sat down and, we had talked about, a plan and some things that I think some things that we pretty much laid a framework for something. Which is between us. Right. But we laid a framework for something and said, well, and we set an intention. It's like, this is what we're expecting, in this next season, or, this is our framework for this. And once we did that, once we were intentional about that, anything that didn't line up with that, it moved. It separated itself from us.
It did.
And that was like immediate. So I think that even the delay in receiving, a phone call or anything like that, it had a lot to do with us setting that intention and having that conversation. Because then the next day that phone call came, and then the next day that email, all of those things. Because we set the intention between us.
Right.
And I think if we hadn't had that slow down time to really think and to really talk about stuff, it might have been a little bit off.
Yeah.
And
different decisions might have been made. Sometimes we think when stuff is slow that what's going on, but sometimes it's time for you to take a break, to sit back and rest and recalibrate, like Shanice was saying, because when things are going, you have to be quick on your toes, you have to be ready, you have to be sharp. And those people who are pretty sharp and ready to do something, it's those people who giving themselves adequate rest. And especially in our hustle and bustle world, we constantly told, get up, you gotta go, you gotta move, you gotta move, you gotta move. So we constantly move. And then when we sit back, we're like, man, I could have did this, I should have did that. So we try to be intentional in the sense that the decisions we make, we know that they have an impact on not just our life, but others' lives, but also a decision that we intentionally made, not just situational or circumstance because something just came up. So it's good. It's just really good to recalibrate, to rest, especially when you transition it. And I believe that this is a time of transition for us. So we needed some time to sit back so that we can be stronger as we move forward and we can be more focused.
Yeah, and it really makes a difference because different things, different opportunities and things like that have came and are coming our way. And so a lot of times, like Sean was saying, you may make a decision based off of circumstances or situations. And I think a lot of times people have quote unquote missed opportunities just for the simple fact that they're not prepared for the next thing. So, you can be doing, to be honest, you can be doing the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like when you have time to rest, when you don't have nothing on your plate, like you said, sometimes it's not just sitting back watching. And we're not big TV people. I mean, you're a sports fan, but we're not big TV people. So to just have the mental time, even that, okay, I'm not physically doing a whole lot of stuff, but mentally I need to be preparing for the next thing.
For sure.
Because if I get a phone call, then I also have to say, man, well, let me see if I can gather I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. I know this is something that I said that I wanted. I'm trying to manifest this, but you're not ready.
Right.
Realistically, when the call came, you wasn't ready. And I think for anything that comes our way now,
Right.
we have already intentionally and we are such in a flow right now. We're such in the flow, and we believe that as we are in the flow, things are coming into alignment. I mean, it's coming like a magnet.
Right.
Everything that we need, everything that we desire, everything that we set our intentions for, that's what's coming to us. And I think that all of that has a lot to do with mindfulness, intentionality, and rest, and constantly coming together to say, okay, well, this is the vision that we have for this.
Yeah, I was asking in a phone screen that how do I prepare for a rush deadline? I said, first and foremost, preparation to me helps you not to be in a rush when a deadline happens. You know, a lot of us have deadlines and they be so far out that we don't prepare in those times where we should be. We wait to the last minute, and now we feel in a rush, but we knew we had this deadline. And sometimes deadlines do come up and that need to be, but if you have mentally given yourself rest, you strong enough to deal with that maybe short window of time. So it's why it's always good to just take some time. I think every day we should, you know, there's seasons where we need to rest more, but I think every day at some point you should give yourself a break to breathe, to sit back and just, you know, enjoy the present. Like Shanice was saying, sometimes when we don't rest, we don't even really enjoy our present life because we're so far ahead of ourselves, or some people so far behind themselves, living in the past that they trying to undo things they can't even undo. You know what I mean? So I've learned to just stay in the present, you know, enjoy what I do have, anticipate things to come, but, you know, don't get so far ahead of myself. And I'm learning that, and my life has become more peaceful. You know, I'm able to see things that I wasn't able to see. I'm able to enjoy the beauty around me instead of looking at all the evils. It's even the saying in the religious community, new level, new devil. I don't even look at that. I look at, you know, the higher you raise, you know, the more delight, the more beauty you see. You know, when you're standing over something, the more you can understand it. So I look at the opportunities and the blessings that come with a greater level, you know, a greater level of responsibility, and I'm held more accountable, but I'm prepared for it, you know, I'm prepared for it. So it's not nothing that I feel like I'm under pressure. It's like, man, this is what I was created for. This is what I've been working for all this time, to enjoy my life, not to work harder, but to be more relaxed and to be in a more state of contentment and enjoyment. And that's what rest do. It gives you an ability to enjoy the work of your hand instead of having to work harder to get something else.
And I think too, that's when you don't have, you know, when you live like that. And it took me a while to get to where I am now, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, just because, you know, it took me a while to get here. But I think living like this, I don't have any regrets. I have less regrets than I had in the past 40 something years of my life. Like the past 4 or 5 years, like I don't have, you know, regretful moments like, man, I wish I would have, I should have, or any of that kind of thing. I know that I'm in sync. I'm in sync with the timing for my life. There's no missed opportunities for me. There's no, there's no regrets. I believe that everything in my life is happening as it should. Everything right now in our marriage is happening as it should. Everything in our family is happening as it should be. I don't have to rush and try and, maneuver nothing or try and control no situation or anything. Yeah. We are in the flow. We are where we're supposed to be at this moment in time.
Yeah. And neither one of us is lazy. We're not resting and, when we should be, preparing or doing something. We're just enjoying our life at this point. We're confident in where we are. We're confident in what we're doing. We're confident in the work that we put in. But we're also confident that things will work out. Yeah. Shanice always say, she always remind me, things are going to work out for good. Just saying that gives me an ability to rest in that statement in faith. believing that, hey, I've done what I could do.
Yeah.
You know, I prepared myself as much as I could. You know, I've placed myself in a position in which I am able to be blessed or, you know, rewarded for the work I put in. So there's nothing else I can do. I don't per se kick my feet up and just let things happen. But I don't, you know, run around trying to make things happen either anymore.
Right.
I know things will happen, you know, not only at the right time, but in the right season. So I just enjoy my life. I just enjoy my life because I'm resting in the certainty that, you know, all things do work together for good.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm resting in that, you know, and just these years of being without Shanice or being without freedom, you know, I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work to prepare myself for a place like this, you know what I mean? To be in a place where I can enjoy my life for a change, you know, not having to wake up every day and say, man, I got this to do. When I wake up and say, man, I got the opportunity and the privilege to bring some health into somebody's life, to make somebody's life a better quality, to be a part of this thing that we call life for the good. You know, so I'm just happy every day. I'm glad that I have an opportunity in such a time as this, in this day and age, to be a blessing in a world of some often pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful because I think a lot of times, you know, what you said about forcing, you know, us trying to force things to happen, but I'm just constantly reminded, and I live by this since March 2020, all things are working together for our good.
Most definitely.
Everything, and you know, that's my affirmation to myself. Everything in my life is working together for my good, as it should. Yeah. Everything in my family is working together for our good.
And Shanice can Shanice can be confident in that because she hasn't been lazy. You know, some people, you know, with our faith, some people think all things work together for my good because I'm just gonna sit back, you know, and let God. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we don't let go and let God per se, but we do what we need to do.
Right.
Shanice have really, you know, put a lot of thought, a lot of effort into the things that we're building. So, you know, she can believe that all things is going to work according to good because with the power that she has, foresight that she has, you know, me as well, we have prepared ourselves and positioned ourselves for things to work out for good. You know, most people just talk like that. They just say that, and religiously they believe that all they got to do is just wait on God. But a lot of times God waiting on you. God waiting on you to take a step. Yeah. You know, so we've learned that. We've learned that we can't move the mountain per se, but we can definitely wait and see if God got to answer me a way for it. But prepare. As we wait, you prepare, but you enjoy. You know what I mean? You enjoy the labor of your hand out. You know, just working out, just the whole physical thing. You know, it's so much that people don't understand about resting. Okay, what I gotta do next? I tell them, I said, first, take a break. Take a break, because if you don't take a break, when I ask you to do this next particular thing, you're not gonna have the energy to do it. So just take a break. Take a break, you know what I mean?
Breathe.
So breathe, you know, calm down, breathe. Your mind has to be as ready as your muscles are too. So if your mind is not ready, your muscles gonna be fatigued. They're not gonna be ready. So it's a lot, even in working, it's a lot of resting that must happen. So I think the better we understand that type of stuff, more we slow down, the more thoughtful we get, and the more really productive we get instead of being counterproductive.
Now, do you think that comes though from when people, you know, don't want to rest, they're running to the next thing? Do you think that's because, I mean, we pretty much live in a microwave society, a drive-through society where, you know, we want everything quick and fast. We even want the results quick and fast. Yeah. And you see that being a personal trainer, like, you know, how fast can I get it over with? Yeah. I mean, that used to be my thing though too. It's like, how long is this gonna take?
Right.
That's the number one question I used to have. Like, how long is this gonna take? So I can just hurry up and get the pain over with.
Right.
You know? And that's in anything, not just working out. Just how long is this gonna take so I can hurry up and get it over with?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So yeah, answer your question. It probably is because of that. We in an instantaneous gratification world. I put a little bit of work in. Let me get the results instead of saying, okay, I put the work in. Let me rest. Let me chill and let me see. How it happens. You know what I mean? I watch a lot of the sports. Like Shanice said, I'm big in sports. And if you know it, every sports season has an end. Why? The players need to rest. The players need to recuperate. I was watching the Bucks this year, and unfortunately they lost. But I thought about it. Middleton didn't get a lot of rest. Drew Holiday didn't get a lot of rest. They won a championship and went right to the Olympics. I'm not saying that this is the reason why, they lost or whatever. But the body does need rest. Middleton had injuries. Drew Holiday had injuries. Giannis didn't really have injuries like that, but he didn't go to the Olympics neither. So I'm not saying that that's why, but a lot of times we don't give our bodies, we don't give our mind, we don't give our emotions, we don't give our hearts a chance to rest. So it's overworking. So when it's time for it to really put the work in, it don't have the energy. You know what I mean? So rest is super important on every level of everything you do. Make sure you're getting the rest because you're going to need that energy. You're going to need that mental and emotionally strength to make it through whatever you're going through.
And I think when you don't, not just I think, but I mean, it's already been proven that when you physically don't get rest, your health suffers.
It suffers.
When you mentally don't get rest, your health still suffers.
Yes, it does.
So it's really important that you start. I mean, I've even seen some results in small areas where I've taken mental rest and have seen some health benefits, some small health that I can measure. I can measure these off of being mindful and doing breath work and getting some rest.
Yeah.
And that's just major. You'd be amazed at some of the small changes that you can make to give your body the rest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure, me and Shanice been talking about a detox from certain food, giving our body a chance our digestive system a chance to rest from. The digestive system go through so much trying to break food down and stuff like that. So especially when we eat meats, the heavier the food is, the harder you putting the pressure on the digestive system. So sometimes even in that sense, your body need to rest from all the work it's putting in. So we finna do a detox just to give our bodies and our digestive system a ability to strengthen itself again. So when we eating meats or whatever again, it's strong enough to break these things down. So like Shanice was saying, every part, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, we need to find a place, a level of rest so that our bodies and our minds can be strong enough to deal with the daily rigmarole or whatever, the hustle and bustle of the rat race, whatever you want to call it, of life. It don't have to be all those things, but a lot of times it is. And the more you rest it, the better you are ready for whatever life may throw at you. But you enjoying it when they do throw it because you got the strength that you need to make it through.
Amen to that. So we did want to say, if you do need to get in touch with Sean for your personal training needs, he does do virtual coaching as well as in person. So we'll put a link to connect with him. You can connect with him. You can direct message him on Instagram, and he'll gladly give you a free consultation there. Also, if you still have not purchased our Beautiful Affirmations, don't forget to do that. The link is in the show notes. I'll just give you, if you are joining me by video, you can see, and we've showed some of these on our previous broadcast in season 1. So again, the link to our Etsy store is in the show notes. And thank you again so much for joining us for another episode of Second Chance at Love and Marriage. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.